Okay, so I just watched The Mandalorian and Grogu, so let's talk about it. So if you don't know what this movie is, this is the newest Star Wars movie, and it follows the Mandalorian and Grogu going on a mission to rescue Rada the Hutt, the son of Jabba the Hutt. Now that's pretty much the basic plot of the movie. Now when it comes to me and Star Wars, I used to be a really big Star Wars fan, but nowadays, I'm kinda just tired of Star Wars, to be honest. Because I feel like there have just been so many Disney Plus shows, with a lot of them not actually being that good. And so I just feel like with the oversaturation of Star Wars and so much content coming out that isn't exactly the best. So I've just become kind of tired of it, but I was willing to check this out because it's a new Star Wars movie. I have wanted a new Star Wars movie for such a long time. So it is nice to actually see a new Star Wars movie in theaters, because the last time we got a new Star Wars movie, it was in 2019. So it's just nice to finally get a new Star Wars movie. Although, I felt that this movie was kind of unnecessary, to be honest. Like, yeah, on one hand, it is nice to get a Star Wars movie, but on the other, this isn't exactly what we needed. Now this right here is a movie based on a show. It is based on The Mandalorian, and you can really feel that here. This movie honestly just feels like a couple episodes of The Mandalorian just squished together in a movie. So it doesn't really feel like a grand adventure that Star Wars movies usually feels like. It honestly feels more like one massive side quest. So I don't really think this was really the big return to theater Star Wars really needed. I feel like they could have gone with something else for like their big return to theater, something more grandiose. But I will admit it, I thought this movie was fun at least. Like, I didn't have the highest expectations for this movie going into it. I just thought it was gonna be fun, but not really much else. I mean, I was correct. I thought it was a fun movie, but it doesn't really have that much else to it. It's kind of just a fun movie, to be honest. And I'm at least glad that the movie is fun at least, and not terrible, because I do like The Mandalorian as a show. I think it's one of the better Disney Plus Star Wars shows. If we don't count Season 3, I'm not the biggest fan of The Mandalorian Season 3, and I will say, I thought this movie was better than Season 3 at least, but not better than the first 2 seasons. And yeah, for the characters here, we have Mando. I thought he was fine in this. I like Mando as a character, but he didn't really go through a character arc in this movie. Like, he was still the exact same character at the beginning of the movie as he was at the end of the movie. He didn't really change at all, which I do find a bit disappointing. But he was at least fun in the movie, because I do like Mando as a character. And we also had Grogu. I like Grogu. I think he's cute, and he has some cute moments in this. And I do like some of the shenanigans he gets up to, so I did enjoy his character. Now, one of the biggest highlights for this movie for me was actually Rada the Hutt. I was surprised by how much I liked him, but I really liked Rada the Hutt in this movie. And if I had a nickel for every time a Star Wars movie based on a Star Wars show featured the main characters having to rescue Rada the Hutt, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. And one thing I also felt was just nice with this movie was just that it was a new Star Wars movie in theaters. I just really liked the feeling to finally see a new Star Wars movie in theaters, because I have honestly missed that feeling. Because Star Wars movies are always great to see in theaters, and I do hope we get a lot more Star Wars movies. I know we're getting a new Star Wars movie next year, but I hope they continue on to make more Star Wars movies, because I would much rather see more Star Wars movies rather than shows, to be honest. Although I do want those movies to be better than this one, of course, and have a little bit more of a point to them, because this movie felt pointless, honestly. Because again, the plot isn't very grandiose, and I get it's a spin-off movie. But I feel like a lot of the other spin-off movies had bigger plots than this one. And also just much better plots than this one. And yeah, I think the plot could have been better. Now, the plot is fine if you don't really think about it, but there's a lot of things in this movie where if you just think about it a little more, it doesn't really make that much sense, to be honest. Now, I have a feeling that the reason they actually decided to go for this as a movie was kind of just because of Grogu, because Grogu is basically just Disney's cash cow at this point. He has become one of the most iconic things about Star Wars in recent years, so I feel like they just made this movie for the Grogu money. And I will say, I also found it fun to see Seb again here, but he wasn't really in the movie that much. which I am kind of fine with, but I also wish he was in the movie a little more because he was a great character in Rebels, but I did at least find him enjoyable here. And the antagonists here are kind of just whatever, not really much special about them. And I really like the opening to this movie. I thought the opening was great. It just shows Mando being a badass and how great of a warrior he actually is. I just really liked the opening. It was probably one of the best parts of the movie for me. But yeah, those were my thoughts on The Mandalorian and Grogu. Overall, I think it's a fun movie, but a very pointless and flawed movie. Like, it's kind of just fun and not really much else. Like, this is far from the best Star Wars movie, but it's also not the worst either in my opinion. And if you're wondering, you do not have to watch The Mandalorian show in order to watch this one. I think watching it would give you some extra enjoyment, but this movie is very standalone. You don't actually have to know anything from the show in order to watch this. So for this movie, I'm not sure how I would recommend it, because it's not the greatest movie, but it's a Star Wars movie, and I think Star Wars movies are best seen at theaters, so I would kind of recommend seeing it in theaters, but I would also kind of recommend just waiting for it to hit Disney Plus, because it's not really the best movie. But anyways, I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about The Mandalorian and Grogu? Please let me know in the comments below. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye!